Now, have you ever looked on Facebook to find some information which could be potentially damaging to your employees?
A little bit. I think I'm a little bit, that might happen in other places. I mean, listen, the reality of it is the concept around privacy in the internet is something that is something that people have to consider. We spend a lot of time with, especially younger folks, 13 to 15, educating them about the internet in general. And making sure that they do understand what they're doing with their information and who they're sharing it with. Within Facebook, we try to create an environment that only people that you want to allow to share information will see your information, and giving you the tools and features and functionality to do that. But in general, if I were to go in and to do a search on you or anybody else here, there's some information I'd find just by Googling you and finding information from a lot of different places, whether it be Facebook or anywhere else. So I always say err on the cautious side, err on the conservative side.
Yeah.
Don't put up information that at some point you want an employer to look at. I think the concept of people's perception of behavior, whether they're being perceived business-wise or socially, is changing, right? Okay. I think that people today coming up, youth today, people in their 20s today, are willing to share a whole lot more and are a little bit more open about what they do outside of work than maybe my generation.
Yeah.
Can't believe I just said my generation. Yeah. Yeah, but those are changing. Those social norms are changing.
Okay, and so would you say on a personal kind of angle, has your career always been quite mechanically thought out, so you knew where you were going to go, or has it had a kind of organic growth and you've just found yourself to be quite very successful?
I go by the theory that you want to do some planning, you want to understand directionally where you're going. Yeah. So I made a conscious decision years and years ago to get into the digital space, for example. Okay. Where it's led me, I couldn't have predicted. So I think people have to be opportunistic to some degree, and you have to make some bets. When I joined Facebook, we had 30 million users, and it was an interesting kind of company that could be cool one day, and I've been fortunate that it was the right decision for me.
And what would you say has been the most important personality characteristic has helped you to be as successful as you are?
I think risk taking. I think risk taking is something that always gets undervalued. I think that that has to be balanced with a little bit of kind of thoughtfulness. But risk taking is something that I embrace, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs do.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, Blake. It's been fantastic, and we look forward to hopefully seeing the LSE again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Bobby.
Great.